Hello, welcome to Leper Now. We promised in the promise of this organization and our sister company, Wisdom 713, that we could fix every problem facing people in their individual lives, their business lives, their work lives, and the political life. Leper Now focuses on the political end of things. We're not ready to do this. Our video production isn't where we want it. Our infrastructure isn't done. Even our organizational paperwork's not prepared. But we can't sit this issue out, this issue of mass murderers. And everybody keeps wanting to go back to the same thing. They want to stop mass murder by the same old way of outlawing things that the majority of the American people can deal with without incident. So what this video is about is what we can do before the laws as related to mass murderers. And I think that the very first thing we ought to do is we ought to demotivate people as much as we can from committing mass murders in the first place, regardless of the tool they use. Not just guns, all mass murderers. And what we can do is we can go back in time to the late 60s and start with the very famous mass murderer who got a lot of glory for these horrible acts that he committed. And we can include him and everybody beyond in what this video is going to recommend. What we say is that if we use wisdom and not rules, we can fix problems. And wisdom says that we can take away the glory of mass murderers, not just the ones from yesterday or today or tomorrow, but we can go back 50 years. And that's what we should do. We're going to make some suggestions here, and maybe the suggestions we have will be implemented in different ways, hopefully in secret. But what we need to do is we need to take away the certainty of the legacy a mass murderer might leave. So let's start with some of the certainty. Seems like if somebody commits a mass murder and is killed in the attempt, we give their body back to their family. Rule number 1, anybody who commits mass murder in this country, and we'll let the politicians define mass murder, the body of that individual belongs to the state, the federal, state, whatever government. The body will not be given back to the family, and the state will do with the body what they seem fitting, what best meets the needs of the state, without regard to any religious preferences the person might have. So, number 1, they're not going to know what's going to happen to their body, and I do not expect there to be some mass murderer grave site someplace with a marked grave and putting their name out. We're not going to put their name out. I'm sure we could be creative, and we have nuclear waste dumps, great places to put things. Maybe we'll feed them to the hogs. Let them wonder. Number 2, any children of a mass murderer will not automatically be given to a family member to raise. Okay, I think it should be prohibited, but maybe we'll at least need a trial. I mean, after all, what are we doing when we take the child of a terrorist and give this child to the grandparents who raised the terrorist parents? Okay, so now you're picking on kids. Well, you know what? We're not picking on kids. We're trying to save kids. We're trying to save their parents. We're trying to save society. I don't care if we want to say what's going to happen, but let's take away the certainty of what will happen. And by the way, Mr. FBI, if you've got some people in Southern California who suddenly have a child and they fly to Pakistan, leave the child there before they fly here, might be some folks you want to keep an eye on. With property, homes, cars, everything. Anything these people own shall be destroyed. What our purpose here is to wipe away any trace of their lives. Period. The final thing is going to be the biggest thing. We shall obliterate every reference we can of these people off the face of the earth. We should recall every yearbook of school that these people were ever in, have them reprinted and redistributed to those that bought them. The originals may not be sold. It is illegal to sell them. We shall eliminate any picture, any social media post, anything they've ever done shall be gone forever. And we shall treat their images that are held on computers the same way we treat child pornography. We will use the facial recognition software this time, instead of for spying on us, we're going to use it to get rid of every image of a mass killer there is. If a mass murderer is not killed and is arrested, then in the law it should be codified that cruel and unusual treatment, the prohibition against that, does not apply to them. Yep, it'll be challenged in court, but you know what? How many are going to go through this before the court challenges come up? Let's make them wonder about that. And finally, if they're in prison, there'll be no, or if they're not, no movies of the week, no movies, no books, no nothing that glorifies them in any way. Their name, in fact, I think we should even change their name to a word that their first name will be coward, their last name will be a 5-digit number that's randomly drawn. So coward 74275. Whatever. In fact, let's not use that one because I don't want some puke trying to come up with that. If they are captured and go to prison, there are no letters, no visits from home, no interviews, no marriages, no nothing, no fan clubs. These people will be eliminated from public existence and private existence and any mention of them, period. There's some constitutional rights with this. They'll have to get worked through in the courts. But you know what? If we need to eventually, we might just have to make it a constitutional amendment. Maybe they'll get this much fame, but it won't be long lasting. Maybe there needs to be some sort of way, a police department website or whatnot, that somebody who thinks they might know this person and has information that could be helpful to law enforcement, maybe these people can stop by and look inside of a book, not even see it online, find out a little more information to see if this is somebody that they knew, that maybe they could give some insights into law enforcement. With that exception, there shall be no fame. There shall be no glory. There shall be no infamy. We say that we use wisdom to solve problems, and the wisdom that we use is the wisdom of God. Is there any reference to doing this in the Bible? Yes, there is. And it says in Psalms 53, read the whole verse, Psalms 53. I'm only going to read a few verses of it. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt, doing abominable iniquity. There is none that does good. For God will scatter the homes of the ungodly. They will put to shame, for God has rejected them. So there's a few different things here taken out of context, jumped around a bit. But yes, we're not going to give glory to the ungodly. We're not going to give glory to the cowards, to the mass murderers. Coming up next, we're going to discuss how we should maybe adjust the way firearm ownership works in the United States. But this needs to be done first. This needs to be done foremost. And this doesn't need anything else put in with it. This needs to be by itself, telling people that if you're seeking glory, there will be none of that in the United States or anywhere else in the world. Anybody else in the world wants to glorify you, Well, we'll find ways of preventing that too. I feel bad for the people, the good, godly people that are killed in this. And there is reference to people that spend their days planning harm to godly people. It's sad, it's tragic, but let's make our first step to fight these sick bastards and take away the one thing they think they can get out of these horrid actions. Thank you.